Thanks, guys. Today we're going to talk about something very important during this COVID-19. People who are dealing with a cancer diagnosis or have had cancer or going through treatment, how are they coping in terms of this pandemic? We're going to speak today with someone from the Ellen Hermanson Foundation. She is a licensed certified social worker and an oncological social worker. Her name is Edyle O'Brien, and I'm very happy that she's joining us today. Edyle, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really
Um,
appreciate this opportunity.
Tell us, first of all, what you do in terms of Ellen Hermanson and the outreach, and then we'll get into specific questions.
Wonderful. So I'm a clinical certified social worker, and what I do is I'm available for anybody who's going through whatever challenges, everyday challenges specific to cancer, for individuals, for couples, for families, and I do it either individually or through a group platform. And mostly people who are having a mammogram that's suspicious or pre-diagnosis, or people who've been diagnosed with cancer. We support them. The Ellen Hermanson Foundation is really spectacular. I mean, they've been here on the forefront for the last 25 years, actually.
Yeah.
And so we support people throughout the process. So it's common for me to work with somebody over a period of 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. If someone were to die, I do have a background in hospice and I worked in the hospital. So to support them through whatever stage and phase they're in, and even through the grieving process when someone has died, to help them make end of life decisions, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. So it's pretty comprehensive in terms of supporting people where they're at after a cancer diagnosis,
So you do.
during and after a cancer diagnosis.
So you do like one-on-one sessions. How does that work? Let's say you have to be out in the East End. Basically, this is all through Ellen Hermanson. So it's a free service, right? Where somebody makes an
Yes,
appointment, like a therapy session with you, courtesy of
yes.
Ellen Hermanson. Tell me that. So what happens? They reach out and say, "I need to talk."
Yes, they reach out. It's usually either through the breast center, the Ellen Hermanson Breast Center, or since
In
we're
Southampton
known now
Hospital.
over the last 20 plus years, the American Cancer Society, different community resources people find out either on the internet or through their friends, or, somebody knows of somebody who's a pal. And so they contact me either by phone or text or email, and we set up an appointment and I speak with them, or not anymore, but sometimes meet with them in person, sometimes even go do home visits if needed.
Right.
Someone can't travel, or see
So
them in the
so
hospital.
okay. So let's talk about the things that people who reach out to you talk about. What is there a common thread during this period, or is it? I mean, what are you hearing from people? How is it compounded some of the anxieties that I would think are natural to what they're going through anyway?
Well, a lot of people, um, a lot of people are feeling the trauma of what happened when they were diagnosed. Aspects of their journey at that time that they didn't really experience because they may have been frozen, or they may have been, completely shut down just to cope with what was happening at the time. So some people are getting re-traumatized. Some people who have had anxiety to begin with are finding that it's really hard to cope with that. And then there's a flip side where a lot of people are saying, you know what, I love this, like not having to meet people and have time to do stuff and clean my house. And so, there is really the entire spectrum. It's pretty hard to say that everybody is, there's different degrees. And just like in life, some people are just going through the ebb and flow of what's happening now, based on God knows, the information we're getting and what else is happening in the larger culture. And
I guess what I want to first ask you is, how do you help people who it's such a to the core challenge when you get that diagnosis, right? And this is a challenge for people just in general, like the uncertainty. Am I going to live through this? And with the pandemic, it's very parallel in a lot of ways. What's it going to be like? Am I going to get through it? And when I get through it, if I get through it, what is it going to look like? How do you deal? I guess my first topic is, well, how do you deal with people who have such anxiety and such uncertainty? Where do you help them? How do you help them focus?
Well, the first of all, Angela, you've been such an incredible support to the Ellen Hermanson Foundation. I
Um,
mean, you're like a star in our book because you've been like so amazing, helping us through not just the past benefit, but previous benefits, and just helping us get the word out about what we do. And so thank you for that. And I think, mainly it's just providing a safe, comfortable place for people to share what they're experiencing. That's
yeah,
primary. Like no matter what you're going through, I'm here for you. What's happening? It's so important for people to have a safe place where they can just share whatever it is they're
yeah.
going through, because we know it's not always safe to talk to even family members or
No,
best
or close
friends.
people. I've seen. Oh, and I've noticed that. I mean, even any kind of challenge, it seems there are people who can be there for certain things, and then and it's not a fault or character defect. It's just how some people are. There is a shade
Right.
that goes down, or if someone has an extreme diagnosis, or if someone even dies close to you, they just can't handle it. And
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
And but I think being able to share it with somebody safe, like you're saying, is so important to reach out, because you do feel alone in it and you're struggling with a lot of different issues like that. So I applaud that you had that this service exists. Do you do group sessions as well? Is that
Yeah.
helpful?
Yes, we are doing a lot of Zoom groups primarily,
Yeah,
and the individual session can be on the phone or it can be through Zoom. And, we all need, I don't care what we're going through, but especially if you've had a cancer diagnosis or you're going through treatment or you've completed treatment or you have a scare, we all need resources that we can go to help us connect to all the resources we have inside us. Like, I
yeah,
mean, we're not living life for anybody, but we're helping them kind of just let go of whatever it is they're experiencing first, and then kind of ground and stay stable and centered. And in essence,
yeah,
it's like we go from I can't do this to I can do this. I mean, really, that I see it as you go from I can't to I can. And it's really the next step. What do you have to do next? And
yeah.
so we provide this on an ongoing basis. We never Cancer is chronic. I mean, I'm looking at you and saying it doesn't matter if you're 5 years, 10 years. It's always that little bugaboo in the background, right?
Yeah, it really, well, I always say something that my father always has said to me is you have to learn to manage your thoughts. and,
Yes.
and and he's a physician. He's retired now, but I remember the first time I went for a follow up. I had a lumpectomy, and it was like they always have that category, and he's a radiologist, where they, if they find something, even if it's, and they check off probably benign, and I'm like, I just went through all this treatment and a surgery, and what do you mean probably benign? I was furious. And he said, what do you, they have to back themselves up? And he was yelling at me. He says, you have to manage your thoughts. And I do this impression. My father doesn't really sound like that. But he said, and the only way you'll feel better is with time, which is there's a
Yeah.
truth to that. I feel like I've coped okay with it. And I'm not sure if it's denial or the way I can distance and compartmentalize my thoughts, or it's just
Hmm.
that I've been through some stuff. So I kind of feel like, really? Like, you don't scare me, which is something that Hoda Kotb, who had breast cancer, always used to say, you can't scare me. And I,
Right.
and of course you can be scared, but do you know what I mean? Like that attitude has helped me during this. I always try to focus on what can I be grateful for, you know? Um,
Yes. I think you said something that so many of these awesome ladies that I have the privilege of working with have said. And they're like, we can take this, we can
I
handle it.
know.
We feel bad for all the other people out there because they haven't been
Yeah.
diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they feel like if I've been through the treatment of cancer, which we know is not for the faint-hearted,
No.
it's pretty brutal. It doesn't matter whether somebody says, "Oh, I just had a lumpectomy and radiation," or "I had mastectomy," or "I had the whole works." I think it's important to recognize that yes, past challenges do make us more resilient
Yeah.
and help us to manage stress a little better sometimes. And I think it's also important, I heard this wonderful phrase from somebody once, and she said, we have to acknowledge when life is difficult because we
Mm,
can't put chocolate frosting on poop cupcakes.
mm.
Right? So, I mean, you
Yeah,
can't just say, like you were saying, gratitude. Gratitude practice is so great as long as you're not bypassing
the
the
real feeling.
fact that you need
Yeah,
empathy or you need some kindness or you just need to share something with somebody or you just
yeah.
need to say, you know what, this is so difficult. I need help right now,
But 1 in 8 women, even though the treatments are far better than they were 20 years ago, right? But still, the same amount of women are still being diagnosed, and some men are being diagnosed. 1 out of 8 is not a great statistic, so
No.
it's going to happen with likelihood of somebody that you know. So you have to deal with it, What can you give
Yeah.
us
And
general tips? I mean, what in general can people do to calm themselves and to cope? And they don't have to necessarily be somebody with cancer, but I would think that they apply across. Do they pre-visualize? What do they do?
right. Well, I like to say the simpler and more pleasurable, the better. So, I mean, it can be as simple as, get up, move your body a little bit, step outside, take a breath of fresh air. I mean,
Yeah,
we're always breathing, so breath is always there. And when we just start focusing on taking deep breaths, that immediately can help calm us down.
yeah,
Another beautiful practice is breathing as if you're breathing into your heart and breathing out of your heart. And
mm,
just doing that, these are all proven scientific tools, just kind of breathing into your heart space, your heart center, and
yeah,
breathing out can just help calm you down, can help your nervous system relax and, take you into parasympathetic. I mean, it's really so simple. The most important thing is just to get up and do something, like
yeah.
get up, move your body, look up and smile. I mean, you think like, that's so weird. But if you look up and
No,
smile, you can't be
no,
unhappy.
I
So
know.
we're using our body's innate intelligence to do things that are going to help us for the moment, not going to figure it out for the rest of our lives, but at least
Right.
for the moment, something can help us.
Thank you. How can somebody reach you? We'll put it up at the end credits, but what is the best way for them to reach you and reach out to Ellen Hermanson Foundation?
Well, they can email me at edylcsw@optonline.net, or they can call 631-329-0520 or 631-786-3650 to text me. So
Okay.
any of those things can work.
Okay, great. We thank you so much. And I'm going to call you on my own. I think I have to call you. And I
Yes,
appreciate you being on Facts at 5. And
uh,
we'll talk again about Ellen Hermanson. Give my love to everybody over there.
I
Okay.
will. Thank you so much, Angela.
Oh,
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
All
Have a
right.
beautiful afternoon, evening, whatever the rest of the day, okay?
Okay.
And I'm
Thanks,
waiting
Edyle.
for you
Okay.
to call me.
I'm going to call you like in 5 minutes. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.